migrant caravan is getting closer to the U.S. Its next stop is Mexico City. Thousands of migrants continue to walk together along the highways in Mexico, and as that caravan gets closer to the U.S., another migrant caravan is following in its footsteps. A much smaller group of migrants left from El Salvador today. The group is trying to escape violence and poverty in their home country. And as the caravans move closer to the U.S., President Trump has continued his threats against the movement.
University of Kentucky offers many alcohol education classes to teach students the dangers of binge drinking. Tips to try can be found on UK's Counseling Center website. Michelle and Kayla, back to you.
Thank you, Taylor.
In the meantime, students on the UK campus remain shaken. Philip Hawkins joins us now in the studio with more on what's being done going forward.
That threat targeted a major classroom building used by hundreds of people every day. Following the recent tragedies in California, that suspect is Haley Duvall. She talked to police about how she faked these threats. They eventually figured out who she was and arrested her. Duvall could face federal charges. She's set to appear in court on November 26th. Kayla and Michelle, back to you.
Hurricanes Harvey and Irma left devastation in their paths, but also hundreds of thousands of cars flooded. The National Insurance Crime Bureau reports 675,000 were flood damaged. So where did those cars go? Well, that's what consumers should be on the watch for.
If you're buying a new car, a new work car, it sounds like it's a great deal. Too good to be true. Usually it is.
That's because right now the used car market is flooded with a large inventory, and 675,000 flood-damaged cars could find their way from this lot to ones like this. The flood cars are issued salvage titles, then sold through websites like these. Used car dealerships like Motivation Motor Cars buy from auction where these cars are identified.
The auction themselves goes ahead and runs a title search to make sure the vehicle's never had a salvage or insurance or flood title. If it has, they announce it if it's going through there.
While Jefferson says this process keeps most salvaged cars off of lots, some still find their way to unexpected buyers, which is why he says consumers should do their due diligence.
Your friend is an auto check and Carfax and doing business with a reputable store.
But even Carfax says its reports aren't completely accurate all of the time. The NICB says only 90% of used cars are recorded in similar databases. Paying attention to a few key signs can help ease any worries.
You just find rust on something as simple as a clamp. You'll find rust everywhere you can see rust and metal's going to be. You see rust or you see corrosion.
Martha says electronic failure is an obvious sign of water damage, but you should inspect the interior as well.
If the interior looks like it's brand new, like it's been shampooed or cleaned. Rust is the main thing.
And if questions remain,
I would ask the dealership to bring you want your mechanic to look at it. Most dealerships will let you do it.
Which is something Motivation Motor Cars and other Lexington dealerships say they encourage buyers to do.
And if you do happen to buy a previously flooded or salvaged car and the seller did not close that information before the purchase, they can be charged with fraud in the state of Kentucky. Reporting live from the studio, Brady Trapnell, UK Student News Network. Tiffany? The Vintage Baseball Association is made up of around 400 teams from California to Maine. And now Kentucky has its first team. They take 1869 American baseball rules, like catching a fly ball on one bounce and no gloves, and make it family.
Go, run it out!
When Ben Klaus saw his first Vintage Baseball League game with his stepson almost 2 years ago,
my stepson from Australia kept saying, "Hey, you can do this, Pops," because I just retired playing softball for 32 years.
Now almost 2 seasons in the books, and it's evolved to this. The Bluegrass Barons, men ages 18 to 70, adopting the rules and uniforms of 1869 American baseball and bringing them back to life.
This has brought the game back to me. I lost the love of it. This made me love the game even more.
There's nicknames.
My nickname is Tugboat.
And Pops built this from the ground up. The scoreboard, travel cases, and organizing a 32-game season all himself, teaching by example along the way.
He's taught us a lot to be gentlemen on the ball field and to be gentlemen in the world also.
Yes, he says being captain takes up all of his free time, but it's not just for the love of the game. It's for family.
I've got 2 sons on this team, and that's a big plus. So, you know, a lot of guys don't get to play with their sons.
And along the way, his whole team has become family too.
Brothers.
Now, the Barons season stretches from March to October, and they travel anywhere from Tennessee to Ohio playing games. And this season, they finished 20-12, their second straight winning record in as many seasons.
So Erica, what's going on in the sports world?
Well, there's a lot going on with baseball and softball starting back up, but let's start with women's basketball. The Kentucky women's basketball team defeated LSU for the second time this season, but this time on Senior Day. With the help of Ryan Howard's late jumper and a steal to win the game 57-52, the Cats are now 10-4 in the SEC.
Very difficult game for us. It was a tough matchup for us. And we just found a way to make one more play, and it was awesome to do that and to get another victory in the Southeastern Conference. So it was a very difficult.
The Cats will play in their very last home game of the season this Thursday. They'll face the number 19 ranked Texas A&M Aggies at 7 p.m. in Memorial Coliseum. Number 13th ranked Kentucky Gymnastics took a win over SEC rival Alabama, ranked 9th in the country. The Cats totaled 49.3 on the bars before earning a 49.275 on beam. Danae Davis and Katie Stewart led the team on vault as Kentucky garnered a 49.225 total. UK's next meet will be at Missouri before they return to the Bluegrass to take on Central Michigan in their last home meet. And Kentucky men's basketball returns to Rupp Arena tonight in its next to last home game. The Cats will take on the unranked Arkansas Razorbacks at 9 p.m. and look to get their 4th straight win. And if you can't make it out to Rupp Arena, you can watch the game on the SEC network. And while most area basketball teams are nearing the end of their seasons, I caught up with one that's just getting started. Here's an inside look at a hoops league that aims for inclusivity. Joy, something that the YMCA Jumpstart League aims to bring to youth and teens with special needs.
This started 2 years later, so we're at 10 years right now of this program running specifically. But the difference between basketball and baseball we run it twice a year, and basketball we just run it once. So it was just a byproduct to offer more activities for these type of kids and activities.
The Basketball League is currently running every Saturday at 4 p.m. and serves as a way for the kids to do something they wouldn't otherwise have the chance to do.
But we're getting the kids to become active and just trying to do different things, because some of these kids don't necessarily have the opportunity to go out and do other things. So baseball or basketball is just another way for them to get out into the world and learn something that, I guess, what ordinary people would do.
The league uses lowered goals and smaller basketballs to ensure each child has the ability to score and has the opportunity to bring the ball up the court. Davidson says helping out and seeing the happiness on their faces is what he enjoys most.
The YMCA, we do it for these kids just to get enjoyed, because some kids can't go to do Special Olympics because of time constraints. Here it's simple, just come here on a Saturday, play for an hour, and then go home. This is probably one of the best things that they can do, and it's one of the things that I enjoy. So I've had parents, grandparents come up to me bawling, crying, just saying thank you for what I do for these guys and everything going on.
While the Basketball League runs through March, the Baseball League, named Bluegrass Miracle League, starts up on April 4th.
Wow, those kids look like they're having so much fun out there.
Yeah, it was a really good time. If you have an extra Saturday, go out to the North YMCA and watch them play at 4 p.m.
Thanks, Erica. Up next in weather, the rain is gone and the sun is shining. We'll tell you if that will change when we come back.
Well, as I mentioned before the break, we had some Lexington teams that played in the district tournaments that started yesterday. And one of those teams was Sayre, as they took on the Douglas Broncos. And as we look at the 42nd district that they're in, Henry Clay was hosting the Sayre Spartans and the Broncos. And Deshaun Jackson led the Broncos in scoring with 19 points. And Nathan Mack, he had 6 points for Douglas. And Clay Brumley, he dropped 9 for Sayre, but it wasn't enough as the Broncos held on 65-40 as they'll face powerhouse Scott County Cardinals tomorrow night at 8 back at Henry Clay. And as we look over on the girls' side, the Spartans and Broncos also going at it. Destiny Jackson, she dropped 21 points for Douglas as she led her team in scoring. She also drained 8 three-pointers last night. And Kylie Dennis, she had 23 points for the Spartans, but Douglas advances 61-24. They will also play Scott County tomorrow, but They'll also be playing at Henry Clay at 6 o'clock. The 4th-ranked UK men's basketball team hits the road tonight. They'll play the Mizzou Tigers at 9 in Columbia. UK is 21-4 overall and 10-2 in the SEC. Kenny Payne says that taking advantage of the turnovers could be the key.
Our job is to be the pressure them, and we have to pressure them without fouling and allow that to get us in transition, where our young players are comfortable.
And if the Wildcats win, UK head coach John Calipari will have win number 700. He'll be tied with Joe B. Hall for the second most victories among all UK coaches. If you were one of only 3 international players on a team, you might feel like an outsider, but for the UK men's golf team, that's been described as a brotherhood. It's a sound that brings the UK men's golf team together. The 11-man roster is also together through a unique relationship.
We've always talked about having a good brotherhood, and that's what we always discuss in our team meetings.
The Indonesian senior is one of 3 international golfers alongside Max Melas and Lucas Euler. Melas and Euler, both seniors, are German. All the other golfers, with one exception, are from Kentucky. But Melas says those backgrounds naturally meshed.
It was not like that the guys from Kentucky thought that people from the outside are coming in, kind of. So it was we were all good friends right from the beginning.
Freshman Cullen Brown is one of those Kentucky natives. To him, cultural backgrounds don't matter. The game is what brings everyone together.
We're all here for one thing, we're here for golf, and it's been great to be able to rally around that and to join together in that spirit.
Brown says that the setting has helped him grow beyond golf.
I've gained a broader view of culture and society and how a lot of different aspects can play into different people's perception of social ideas and norms.
The cultural differences didn't matter to Melas either. In fact, he says it only made his team want to learn more.
The guys were asking about certain details, about our home countries and the cultures, the religion, that kind of stuff.
Satorso says he's appreciated the dynamic in his time at Kentucky. It's something that he says he doesn't regret.
I think this was a very good fit for me in the end.